Welcome back to another episode. Nothing's off the table. We have a gambler in the house today, baby. A former gambler in the house. His name is Kurt. You guys know how important gambling is to me and gambling recovery. And we're connected, like six degrees of separation through our guy, Brad. And shout out, Brad. Thank you so much for the connection. But more importantly, dude, you're a young kid. You got hooked on gambling like I did, like so many kids are right now. And the most important thing is that you're in recovery and you've lived both sides of the street. And so I'm really excited for you to share your story today. Thank you for coming, bro. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm very, very excited to be here.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
We get right to it.
That's right.
Tell me about your last day gambling.
So I stopped gambling a little over 2 years ago. My last bet was in January of 2024. And at this point, I've exhausted all resources. I'm making no money. I have nothing to gamble. So I'm kind of like taking the free money that the casinos are giving me. And this is 3 days, or my last day gambling was the day before I went to rehab. But 3 days I was at Disneyland before I went to inpatient rehab. And I remember just being in Disneyland. You know, I love Disneyland. I'm a Disney guy.
Yeah.
So I couldn't stop gambling even at Disneyland. At this point, I stopped all my drugs, but I just couldn't not gambling. So I was in the lines at Disney, kind of just gambling and on my phone the whole time, and at dinner, being on my phone, just placing bets. And then I ended up stopping the day after when I went to treatment. So
What were you gambling on?
I was gambling on everything.
Mm.
To name a few: horses, dogs, baccarat, blackjack, slots, all kinds of card games, game shows,
Sports?
sports, of course.
Wow. So you were in the dogs?
Yeah.
Where are you getting lines on dogs?
On crypto casinos, they have lines for everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old are you?
Right now?
Yeah.
23.
Got it. So technically when you were 21 already, but you were doing a lot of underage gambling through the crypto casinos.
That's right. I gambled for 10 years from ages 11 to 21 all the time, illegally,
Wow.
and was only legally gambling for 11 days when I turned 21.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's take it back then. You're 11 years old. How the hell do you start gambling at 11 years old?
Yeah, so I was playing this game called Counter-Strike, and they have loot boxes on there. And you spend $2.50 and you spin a crate and you get either a really high value item or a really low value item. And there are these third-party websites that will take your video game items and they will exchange it for currency in their casino. So say I have like a $50 item. I'll give it to them. They give me $50 in credit on their site, and then I can play actual casino games. Completely unregulated. Anyone can do it. I did it for, I don't know, 5-6 years before I went to crypto casinos.
Wow.
So yeah.
When did it really start to become a problem? Like at what age? And kind of just take me through these 10 years of you gambling and kind of what your life looked like.
Well, I started stealing, I don't know, maybe less than a year into my gambling addiction. I remember a vivid story of me taking money from a friend when he was in the other room. I kind of just he left his computer open and I gambled a bunch of his money because we were gambling together. And basically, I won thousands of dollars, which is terrible for a gambler because then I think every time I'm going to win thousands of dollars. I'm like, yeah, this is normal. Yeah, I'll just steal and win thousands and give it all back. Like that just became the norm. And, later down the line, I was stealing and it wasn't that easy.
Yeah, did your friend ever wind up catching you?
He caught me the same day. We got in a big fight. He was my best friend in middle school.
Wow. You guys cool now?
No.
Wow. That's crazy. So I'd love to kind of hear about your high school years and kind of how you juggled going to high school, gambling, what it looked like. What was going on at home? Did your mom know? Your dad? Like, did people know what was going on, or was it just you were keeping it under wraps?
It was completely a secret. I was very ashamed of my gambling. A lot of guilt came with it. I didn't feel like I should be gambling. I felt like it was a bad thing because of how high I was getting off of it. Like I've done a bunch of drugs and it feels just like a drug. Like,
Yeah.
it activates the same kind of reward system as drugs do, so
Yeah.
no one knew. I felt guilty about doing it, and I was running track, I was part of the soccer team, I got really good grades in high school, and was gambling, like, 10 hours a day. It somehow I don't know how I did it. I was gambling all throughout the night, waking up in the middle of the night because I was, fiending to get a bet in, so
Did you feel that I personally felt this? I would get just as high from losing, if not higher losing, than I would winning. Like that that relief that I also got from losing all my money, knowing I couldn't gamble until like I figured out where the next person I was stealing money from came from was also a part of that rush and dopamine hit. Did you feel the same?
absolutely. Sometimes I'd be up so much money and I wanted to go to sleep. All I wanted to do was just go to sleep and get like, 5 hours of sleep, but I literally could not go to bed with money in my bank account.
Mm,
So I would almost like intentionally lose all the money. I'd be like, here, I'm just going to do outrageously high hands of blackjack or bet like $100 spins on the slot machine just so I could lose that money to do basic things like sleep, eat, and shower because I
mm.
couldn't do that if I had money.
Take me through a day in the life of a degenerate gambler when you were gambling.
So I'll take the college years because that's when it really kind of got the worst. So I went to college out of state, and the day in the life of me would be wake up at like 6 p.m., go steal from steal people's wallets. Just I would go to a gym and essentially steal wallets out of lockers because they kept them unlocked, and I ended up going to jail for this. So yeah. But I ended up doing that for most of the night because it was open until whatever time, and then would basically throughout the night do drug deals, kinda like get some weed, get some ketamine, get some DMT, get all kinds of weird drugs, do all the drugs and gamble throughout the whole night, and wake up when the rec center opened and go right back and steal more money, and just back and forth of that for a long time.
Wow. How long did it take before you got arrested for stealing those wallets?
I was stealing from my parents and other sources, but I was only stealing from the rec center for about like a month or two. But I was in that kind of process of, stealing from my parents and having that cycle of sleeping throughout the day and waking up and just taking money from anyone I could, really.
And you were living at home at this time?
I was living on campus in college, out of state.
Wow. Wow. It's crazy what gambling will have us doing. Do you think how long are you sober from drugs and alcohol?
I'm sober for about 5 months.
Got it.
I had a little over a year and a half, and then I had a relapse about 5 months ago on a couple things. I mean, I went to an IOP program, and that helped. So now I'm 5 months again sober.
Congrats. Welcome back,
Thanks.
brother.
Thank you.
Um, I think it's important for me to say to you that it took me 10 years to get 1 year sober. And I think the hardest thing for me was the shame that I felt coming back into the rooms of AA. And I just want you to know that you didn't lose any of that wisdom you gained during that year and a half long period of sobriety. The only thing you lost the ability to say is that you have 2 years now or whatever it would have been, right? But you still learned a lot. And this is a lifelong battle. It's a lifelong journey. So keep at it. Keep trying, bro. Don't ever give up. Um, did you wind up doing any prison time for stealing the wallets?
I did a few days.
All right.
I ended up getting a PR bond and getting out of prison. It was jail, but getting out of jail in about 3 days. I never really made it into the system. I was sitting booking, kind of like in that big room where everyone has a bed. So I was in there for about 3 days. It was terrible. I mean, doing long term prison time is a whole nother beast. I only did 3 days for my crimes, but yeah,
And how long after that did you go to treatment?
about a month after that.
Where'd you go to treatment? If you want to ask me?
Bechuva.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you get arrested. What's going through your mind? Are you in jail saying, all right, that's it, I'm done? Like, or are you like, I can't wait to get out of here so I can gamble again?
Yes. The entire time I was in jail, I was like, I was kind of like planning and scheming, like, where am I going to go next to get money? I need to, go steal from this person or go borrow from this person so I
Mm.
can continue gambling. And it was all scheming in jail. Like, I wasn't like, I was just scheming the entire time, thinking about when I can get my next fix in.
What'd your mom say to you when you got out?
She was like, "Yeah, you committed the crime. Like, you did the crime. You got to jail. Like, what were you expecting to happen?" And I was like, "I don't know." Because when I was stealing, I thought I was invincible. I thought,
Mm.
hey, I was so delusional under the influence of gambling and drugs that I thought, hey, these people, it's their fault for leaving their bags unlocked. It's free reign for anyone who wants to take it because it's their fault. They're silly for leaving it unlocked, which is the most delusional thing I've ever heard. But I mean, that's really what I believed.
Quick moment before we get back to the episode. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, I want to tell you about Right Choice Recovery in New Jersey. Recovery changed my life, and I know how important it is to have the right people around you when you decide to ask for help. Whether you're struggling with gambling or substance abuse, Right Choice Recovery has you covered. What I love about Right Choice Recovery is the compassion. No judgment, no shame, just real people trying to help others get their lives back. The information is in the description below. Don't wait to make the call.
Listen, everything you're saying, I relate to, right? It's like the delusion we have when we're in our disease is like it's no other. Um, I would love to kind of hear about maybe your biggest win and your biggest loss. And I don't ask that for uh numbers, so to speak, but more so about the feelings and the emotions that you have behind it. Because what has happened is I've shared my biggest losses, which are astronomical. And yes, it's, dramatic losses, but people can relate to the feelings that we as compulsive gamblers have. And I think it's important for people watching to be able to hear about those feelings that another gambler has experienced behind their biggest win and their biggest loss.
The biggest win was probably after stealing a couple $100 from the rec center. And I ran it up to, I don't know, 50,000 in an hour or two, just playing blackjack, high stakes blackjack, VIP blackjack online, and made it to 50K and really just felt incredible.
Mm.
Like on top of the world. No one can stop me. I can do anything I want. I can buy a car. I can buy, like, rent an apartment for like more than a year. Like, I was on top of the world, right? I had so much money for a college kid. 50K is a lot. So I thought I was invincible. Like, you could probably like chop my finger off with a knife and I wouldn't even feel it. Like, it was, the feeling was unmatched. Any drug I've done, the feeling was better gambling. The feeling of winning that much money was better than any drug I've ever tried. And
That is a lot of money
yeah,
listen, for anybody really, but
yes.
a college kid, it's like, feels like 5 billion.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So, and another thing, I was very generous when I was winning a lot of money because I was like, hey, let me just give you a couple, like $20. Here's 50, here's 20. And I felt very generous and giving when I had that money for some reason. I still don't know why I felt that way. I've heard other people talk and have the same experience
Same.
because they feel like they're, giving back for what they stole or whatever. Just, anyways, I lost it all within an hour because I couldn't stop. Of course, I couldn't stop.
Mhm.
Literally couldn't. And lost the 50-ish K in an hour playing $100, $500, $1,000 blackjack hands, and felt after it was all gone, there was no relief. Sometimes I'll feel relief if it's a small amount, like, hey, I just lost like $50. Oh, it's nice. I can go to sleep now. But this was like, I wanted to die now.
Mm.
Like, I didn't want to live. I I was suicidal, but never had a plan. I never got that far, but I was like, I want to die. Like, there's nothing worse than this feeling. Like, I had a breakup with a girl. I had, a friend die or someone, but it was nothing like this. Like, there was nothing like this feeling. And I have to remember that feeling when I think about relapsing. And I'm like, hey, maybe I'll go back to gambling. And I'll pick up the phone and call somebody. I'll be like, hey, I'm feeling like gambling, and they'll be like, hey, remember what happened? Like, play the tape out.
Mm.
So, just the worst feeling of all time. Like, I didn't think there's anything worse than that.
It's funny because as a gamblers, right, we always set these things in our head of like, if I win 10 grand, I'm going to cash out. If I win 20 grand, I'm going to cash out. And for me personally, I'd hit a certain number that I would swear I'd cash out if I hit. And then I just keep pushing that goalpost back further and further. I win 10 grand, it should be 100 grand. Win 100 grand, it should be a million. I remember this time in Vegas, I went with 30 grand cash and I ran it into 500,000 in chips. I lost it all in 72 hours plus another 100.
That's crazy.
And I remember flying back from Vegas to LA, and I was like, I want to kill myself. I'm too big of a pussy to do it, but I really hope this plane just falls out of the sky right now.
Mhm.
And what's even crazier is that I get back to LA that night. I go to sleep. I wake up the next day and I'm like texting my casino host about coming back the following weekend to do it all over again.
Mhm.
You know, and the disease, we have this incredible built-in forget button where it's like we can forget the pain of what gambling just did to us like this. But you know, I'm sure that there's people out there who have gone through like the exact same thing you and I have gone through, and they don't talk about it because listen, you're a double winner. You're an alcohol, you're a drug addict and a gambling addict. Would you agree with me if I said to you that you feel as though the stigma of being sober from drugs and alcohol is far less than the stigma of being a compulsive gambler?
Yes. Gambling addiction has a stigma that the drugs and alcohol don't have because people are very knowledgeable about drugs and alcohol. They're like, they teach their kids. They're like, hey, little Timmy at 5 years old, don't do drugs, don't do alcohol, right? But like, they never really say, hey, don't gamble, like, because gambling is so normalized and it's like a social thing that people do, especially in the young generation now. Like, it's a cool thing to gamble when you're in high school or middle school. It's like a cool thing to do, or
Yeah.
college. But like, when you're getting clean from gambling, people are like, oh, that's not even a real addiction. Like, you're not even ingesting a substance. It's not a real addiction.
Yeah. Can I ask you? So I'm 31. I'm a little older than you. Um, when I was playing video games, right? Like I was just really starting into like the Xbox Live era. And like my big thing when I was in 8th grade was Halo 3. That's all I played. Xbox Live or like Madden or NBA Live. We didn't have these loot boxes. We didn't have Fortnite. We didn't have all these other games that I see now. A young generation, that's their way of getting into compulsive gambling. What would you say to parents right now, or even to young kids who are playing these games that have like gambling kind of aspects to it in video games? It's not strict. It's not like directly sports betting or directly blackjack or you know what I'm saying? Like these loot boxes. Because I'm confused on that.
Yeah, parents need to be more aware of the harms of gambling. Not all kids are going to turn out to be a gambling addict. Like most of the kids aren't, but there are these. I don't know what the percentage is, but there's a good amount of kids that are going to become compulsive gamblers because of these loot boxes, like I did.
Yeah.
And the parents need to be more aware because, like, my mom didn't even think it was a problem to gamble. She was like, "Oh, like even if I was like, hey," she's told me, even if I was like, "Hey, I'm gambling," she'd be like, "Oh, cool, like no big deal." So parents need to know. They need to hear podcasts like this and stories of other gambling addicts who have been through the ringer and can, just bring more awareness to them so they can watch out for their children.
How fast would you say you got hooked on gambling when you
Fast,
started?
less than a month,
Wow.
real fast.
Wow. How many times in your 10 years of gambling did you swear you were going to stop and couldn't?
Lots, too many to count. I would, after a big loss, I'd be like, I'm quitting, I'm done. But I never got the right tools to quit. I was always doing it on willpower. I was always doing it on like, hey, I'm going to try really hard to quit because I don't want to do it. And then, as you said, the forgetting thing, you forget and boom, you're right back there. Like within an hour, within a day, you're right back.
Mm. What changed for you? Like what happened when you went to treatment that you decided that you were going to finally maybe listen and take some suggestions?
I really didn't want to change when I first went to treatment. I had my phone and laptop and computer taken away for about a month and a half. And during that month and a half, I was in a lot of pain, was crying all the time, was just devastated. And because I didn't have my coping mechanism,
Mm.
I didn't have the drugs and I didn't have the gambling. So I had to like face life without those coping skills because that's all I knew how to do was cope. Was, hey, something arises, a problem happens, I'll start gambling to fix it. I'll be numb, so who cares what the problem is?
Mm.
Or if I got a new job, like a big win, I'd want to gamble. I'd want to gamble for everything. So throughout that month and a half, I went through a lot. I went through a lot of friendships, had very deep talks with my counselors and therapists and things of that nature, and went to a lot of Gamblers Anonymous meetings.
Mm.
I got really involved in Gamblers Anonymous, and basically I got my phone back on day like 38 or something, and was like, had a little urge, but I was like, I'm good. My parents and I set up some gambling blockers, and I was like, I'm good. But, I've had, of course, like moments where I'll be like, hey, I really want to gamble.
Mm.
But the blocks are there for like just to remind me of what I'm doing. They're not like, if I really wanted to get around these blocks, like Gamban or whatever, I could get around them. There's ways to do it.
Of course.
But like it's just a reminder. It's like, hey, don't mess this up. Like you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Like you're getting sober for a reason. So
I like to tell people that the roadblocks that you can put in place, whether it's self-exclusion, turning over your finances to someone you love, downloading Gamban, which is, in my opinion, the best blocking app available. These are roadblocks. As addicts, if we want to get high, drugs, alcohol, or gambling, we'll get around the roadblocks. But what I tell people is, especially early on in recovery, when those urges may be stronger, is that those roadblocks are going to give you an extra 2 to 3 minutes to like pause, as you said, play the tape out, take a deep breath, and maybe be like, you know what? I'm not going to gamble right now. But the problem is this and the accessibility that they've given us to gamble with this. It's like instantaneous 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can have a bet in. Back in the day, so my grandfather was a compulsive gambler. Very, very bad. Gambled away the house 3 times growing up for my dad. Bro, he had to fucking drive to a payphone to call the bookie. The bookie had to be in the office. The office had to be open to take your bet. Like, if you're losing your bet, you have to drive back to put in another bet. It was harder to chase your losses. It was harder to even get a bet in. There wasn't player props. There wasn't a casino on your phone. And now the accessibility of it is just I think is so dangerous for anybody. I mean, young men, young women, old women, it's just dangerous. I would love to hear more about your experience in treatment and kind of how long you were there for, maybe some exercises or things you did in there that really helped you with your gambling.
yeah, I was in there for 10 months, inpatient treatment for 10 months. It's a long time. But I started my life back around month 5. I got a full-time job. I was going to some groups still in the treatment center, but kind of started my life back, and then started school the following semester, not 2 semesters. I don't know. But things that helped were like grounding exercises that I found very helpful. And I still use them often. It's like box breathing. You do 4 seconds in, 4-second hold, 4 seconds out, 4-second hold. I do that all the time. If I'm like stressed out during a test, I had a test today, like a final exam, and I just did a couple box breaths in between, and it calmed me down. And that's something I learned in treatment. Just grounding yourself. And I've picked up like breath work and meditation, and I'm working on prayer right now. I've heard that really helps, but I've been working on that. So, but exercises like that, like the fundamentals of an anonymous program, are what they taught me. And
Yeah.
Gamblers Anonymous also taught me when I was going.
You still go to GA meetings?
Yes,
You love GA?
I do.
Yeah, me too. I'm a big GA guy. Saved my life.
Me too.
I'm curious how you transitioned from treatment into the real world. Like, were there fears around it? Were you nervous? Were you scared? What was your transition like after the 10 months into, back to real life?
It was pretty smooth because I already kind of had a life built inside of treatment, which is what Beit Tshuva does really well. is they don't just like isolate you for the entire time and keep you in this bubble. They kind of like let you go out and get the job and go back to college and kind of do these things that other treatment centers won't let you do. So basically the only thing that changed is my living place, like where I lived.
Mm.
I was in Culver City, moved to Santa Monica, and that was all that changed. I still kept the same job. I was still gonna enroll in college. I still had the same friends that I had in GA and a couple from treatment. So the only thing that changed was my living position, and I still keep in contact with some guys from the treatment center. So I still kind of have that camaraderie.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me about your relationships in recovery. Start with your mom and how how your relationship has evolved and gotten better because of your abstinence.
My relationship with my mom specifically has gotten really, really good. I can be honest with her with anything. I go to her with a lot of my problems, and she more often than not has a solution, has some sort of wisdom or advice. My dad too. They're both very successful people. They both work really hard and very intelligent. So I can go to both my mom and my dad and kind of get some advice, and I love them very much more than anything in the world. They love me very much. And it's just when I was in active addiction, I wasn't calling them, I wasn't keeping connected with them. I would rather place a bet than talk to my mom.
Mm.
I would be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go steal and place a bet, and screw calling my mom. I don't want to do that. Like that sounds like a burden. That sounds like a waste of time." So it's been incredible, kind of fostering this new relationship with my parents.
Your mom loves you a lot.
I love her too.
I don't know your dad that well, but I know your mom. I'm sure he loves you a lot too, but I know your mom loves you a lot. I mean, it seems as though she's kind of taken on some type of mother in gambling recovery type role. As this, I mean, I'm sure this has really affected her both negatively, but now to have you on the other side of things and in recovery, I'm sure has positively impacted her as well. Um, what other relationships in recovery have been instrumental for you?
My brother's been cool. I mean, he's kind of keeping in touch with me. But the main two that have been incredible are my mom and dad. My mom has started a nonprofit called Parents Standing Together, and she basically it's for like affected others with children who are gamblers.
Mm.
And she's doing a lot of interviews, a lot of news stuff, going to a lot of conferences, doing a lot of work in the space, and it's been incredible to see. And other relationships, I have a lot of Gamblers Anonymous friends. We hang out all the time. We go to fellowship. We go out to eat. We go to the movies. We stay close because we have an inseparable bond of compulsive gambling that like a guy who isn't compulsive gambling isn't going to understand. We have that like connection that like brings us really close together, like almost immediately, like within like a week, you're that close to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. No one understands us but us, And I think that for people who are normies, right? They're like, how could you steal? How could you do all of this? How could you do all of that? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I didn't really want to be doing that, but my brain is hijacked, right? And I don't say that to exonerate us from our decisions that we made while in addiction, but while we're in addiction, I tell people all the time, we're sick people trying to get well. We're not bad people trying to get good, you know? Um, if you could give right now for people who are watching, if someone's still sick and suffering, whether it's gambling, drugs, or alcohol, what's your best piece of advice for them to get into recovery?
My best piece is to just try something. It doesn't have to be Gamblers Anonymous. It can be an online support group. I go to that too. It could be therapy. It could be, having a really close friend who struggles with the same thing. There are many ways to get abstinence and recovery. It doesn't have to be the traditional Gamblers Anonymous way. There's plenty of ways to do it. So just reach out and try something with another person. By yourself, more than often than not, is not going to work because you're just going to not know what to do. You're going to be doing it off willpower. So my best advice is to try something with at least one other person. Just try something. And if it doesn't work, try something else. Just keep trying until you get it.
Don't ever give up on your
That's
recovery.
right.
Kurt, you're the man. Thank you so much for coming on today. I look forward to staying in touch with you, bro. And best of luck to you with school. Best of luck to you going after your master's and hopefully getting your therapist license, your counselor license to help other compulsive gamblers. I know that you'll be able to help a lot of people, man. So keep at it.
Thank you. You keep doing what you're doing too. You're doing great work and very excited to be here. And I love your podcast. So thank you very much.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it.